Will ChatGPT replace product management? How should I use ChatGPT as a product manager? So I'm sure many people like us, like you and me, have the similar question as soon as the ChatGPT was released for the public use. So let's take a look at it together. Hey guys, my name is Rubab Dutt Sharma. I am a senior product manager and have more than 12 years of work experience as of 2022. So like you, I am also very interested to know if ChatGPT is my friend or my enemy. So let's get into it. First, let's see the short and sweet demo of ChatGPT and how it works.
Alright, let's see what ChatGPT looks like. So this is the OpenAI website. Let's open that. There's a link to try ChatGPT. So we will open that, loading in a second. So once over here, we click on a new chat and we can ask it whatever questions we want to. So for example, I ask what is product management and hit enter. It is going to give me a lot of details about what product management is and stuff like that. So all this theoretical knowledge is really helpful whenever we are researching inside ChatGPT. And it's not like a one or a two-liner. It's like, great text, great information that we are getting out of ChatGPT. So as you can see, this is quite a good information right there. Now let's ask second question. Can you write me code for a product that sells clothes online? Let's see what it gives. So it's not just product managers. This is also helpful for developers to some extent because it's going to give us a beautiful code snippet of if we were to build a product that sells clothes online. Let's see. Yeah, it does take a couple of seconds, but let's see what the results are. Alright, I'm not able to write a fully functional code for clothing store. Alright, let's see what it provides. Okay, can you write a code snippet? Let me try this word for a product that sells clothes online. Let's see what this gives. So as you see, we can also upvote this answer or downvote this answer. So this is how OpenAI is gathering feedback from the users of the product at the moment. So let's see. Alright, it is going to give us this code snippet of an e-commerce website. So you see, I just gave a product that sells clothes online and it, automatically understood that I need a code for an e-commerce website. So now it's giving out the code snippet in Python. It's going to give, that, and a user can also copy code if they want and paste it in their own product library. Alright, now let's ask another question. We see it's given us code snippet. Let's see who are the users of the product that sells clothes online and what challenges do they face. Let's see. These are, the questions which a product manager would ideally ask themselves. Like, who are the users? What are their pain points? What's the ideal customer profile? So, we can just ask in those questions and it's going to give us some answer. Alright, so it's given an answer that the users are shoppers. It could be the fashion enthusiasts. It could be, what else? Let's see. The retailers. Yes, obviously they are also the users of that product and so on and so forth. Okay, it's also giving the challenges. Let's see. Sizing and fit, yes, quite obvious. Alright, so I am just going to stop generating. I think we've seen enough of what a ChatGPT can do.
Alright, isn't it cool what you just saw? So ChatGPT, it is an artificial intelligence model which is developed by a company called OpenAI. So it's a research and a development company. It's been in this space for quite some time now. ChatGPT is not the first AI model that they've built. There are a couple of them which are available and all of them are paid. So as of now, ChatGPT, it is free for public use. But I'm sure it's going to be paid in the near future. So it's basically a product which is built in a conversational way. So which means I ask it a couple of questions and it responds me back with an answer. But the important part is that each time we are having this conversation, it's learning from it and it's getting smarter with all of that. So that's the main reason that it's free for public use, because they're making their software smarter by allowing people to play around with it so that it can learn and make itself more useful for the end users at the end of the day. Now on to product management, because that's why we are here. So let's see how product managers can leverage the intelligence of ChatGPT in their day-to-day life. So at a high level, these are the 5 things that a product manager does: research, build requirements, execute, launch, and monitor. So now in each of these activities, let's see how product manager can use ChatGPT. Now within research itself, there are multiple things that a product manager needs to research about. Like they have to research who the end users are, what are their problems, what are their pain points, what does the competitive landscape look like, what does the target market look like, what are the possible solutions out there, what are the market trends that are ongoing, and based on all of this research, they will ideally create a beautiful product vision and a product strategy and a product roadmap. So this is what a product manager would ideally do in the research phase. Now starting off with the research about the users. So I think as you can see that in my opinion, you could leverage ChatGPT for researching about the users. Approximately at 60% of you can research via this tool, but apart from that 40% you will still have to utilize the information that you personally have. So what I mean by that is, because for your particular organization, for your particular niche, so what what's the target market that your organization is going after, right? And who are the users your organization is already currently serving. So now that you have a little bit of information already, you're not starting from scratch, because you're not building a product from scratch in most cases. So you have to utilize that knowledge and then leverage ChatGPT, based on this user, what does the customer journey look like for this particular user? What are the challenges that they are facing? So for example, I could ask a question like, who needs a mailbox provider? If I was looking at, building a product similar to a Gmail or, email providers like that. So if I can ask that question, it's going to give me the results of users who are going to who need a mailbox provider. So if you get the context, so 60% of answers you can get from this tool, but 40% you will still have to utilize the knowledge that you have for your organization, which is specific to your needs. So that's what I mean by that 60-40 rule in researching the users. Now within research, I earlier spoke that a product manager ideally also needs to research about the market and the market trends. So I think for this particular research, the product manager could definitely use 100% of ChatGPT. So by that, what I mean is, so you already know what the the target market is, who the competitors are. Now you have to research about who's the competitor of this product X, or what are the negative reviews for this competitor, who's the best out of these, and stuff like that. So these are all factual things that you can ask ChatGPT. So for this, you could definitely use ChatGPT. What are the trends in the market? For example, we are in our email provider example, we could ask them, which is the best email provider out there? What are the latest features being rolled out in the email provider products being launched? Is there a need to build another email provider? How has an email provider changed in the past 10 years? So if you know what I mean. So to research about the trends and how the markets have evolved for your particular niche, you could leverage ChatGPT 100%. But as I'm repeating it again and again, so the smarter the questions that you ask, smarter answers you're going to get, and that's how you're going to be able to leverage the full functionality or the full benefits of a AI tool like a ChatGPT. Now, a little similar to the research that we just spoke about of the target market and the trends in the market is the competitive landscape or the competitive analysis. So in my opinion, you could leverage ChatGPT for 80% of the time when you are in this particular research phase. Reason I say 80% is because that 20% is still going to be wherein you could directly speak with the users of a competitive products and get really good insights about it. Like you can ask factual questions to AI tools saying who are the competitors of this, what is the latest feature on this, what are the positive reviews, what are the negative reviews. So you can do all of that using ChatGPT and get an answer like you would normally do via Google. but you will not be able to get the insight that you can get while speaking directly to the people who are using the competitive product. So that's why I've kept that 20% of buffer here, because for researching the competitors and the competitive landscape, I think that's going to give you an edge if you're researching as a product manager. Now, similar to what we spoke earlier, researching about the users, similarly, if you want to know what the pain points are, so I think you could leverage ChatGPT or any other AI tool for 60%. The reason being that again, that human touch is still required. You can ask an AI tool questions on what are the problems being faced by this ideal customer profile that you've built, what are the problems that they are facing and stuff like that. But the information that you're going to get by speaking directly with your own customers and identifying the pain points by doing the interviews and service, that no AI tool can tell you. So that's why you have to be really smart in making a decision on where do I use a tool like ChatGPT and where do I not use a tool like ChatGPT. Now, in addition to that, the product manager would also research about the possible solutions, right? So in my opinion, ChatGPT or any other AI tool for that matter can be leveraged for 60%. The reason I say is because the AI tool can give you answers on, if I ask it a question, is there a need to build another email provider? Like, if I ask it that, it's going to give me some information. But for you to be able to make a decision whether you can build that particular solution, it's going to depend a lot on your company's skill set, right? So it can give you a list of solutions based on the questions that you asked, but for you to be able to make a decision on whether which solution I pick and which is going to be the most appropriate one for my organization, you still need to do that analysis, because it's going to be that particular thing for your particular company. So ChatGPT cannot completely provide you the possible solutions which you can right away go and implement, because that level of personalization and customization for your needs is really going to be needed as a product manager. Now, after a lot of research, the last step over here is creating a product vision, product strategy, product roadmap. So over here, I think any AI tool can be leveraged for around 30%. 70% of work is going to be done by you at this stage, because you can ask ChatGPT for templates. If you write, how should I write a product strategy? What's the format? It's going to give you a beautiful product strategy, but you cannot go and pitch that product strategy to your executive team, right? You've got to customize it for your business needs based on all the research that has been done. So that is something that will need a human. AI tool, at least at this point, cannot do. It can give you formats and it can give you templates and all of that. It can give you like a timeline view of roadmap, but you still need to fill in the data. Which quarter does it fit in? Who's going to do this work? Will we be able to do this or not? So at that level of information, any AI tool cannot provide as of now. So yeah, that's something that a product manager will have to do on their own for the majority part of it. If you stayed so far, do not forget to hit like and subscribe, as we all know why. So do that right now. Moving on. Now, the next phase after research, as I said earlier, is building out the requirements. Now, when you're building out the requirements, there are two main things that a product manager would ideally do. One is, first of all, prioritize. Now that you've researched what are the possible solutions and then you've applied your brain on which ones can we do and which ones should we do, now you've got to prioritize amongst them. And the second one inside this is the documentation. So I think in the prioritization lane, ChatGPT can probably help you, like 30% of answers it can provide you, but another 70% it's on you. So there is no AI tool as of now it's going to replace humans' decision making capabilities. So that prioritization you've still got to do, because when you think about prioritization, you have to think about a lot of factors, like what's the effort to build this particular feature, what is the impact going to be on my business, and things like that. There are several prioritization methodologies available out there. So that decision making and those instincts and gut feelings, that AI tool cannot tell you. So a product manager still need to make the decisions at a prioritization. Yes, there are some things like, which prioritization framework should I use, or, which feature would perform better. It is going to give you some level of information, but still, I don't think we are at a stage wherein we can blindly trust an AI tool to make decisions for us. The second one, as I mentioned, is the documentation. So again, it's almost the same percentage as prioritization. 30% of work can be done by the AI tool, but 70% work needs to be done by the product manager. So as I said earlier as well, it can give you templates, it can give you like the whole format, it can give you samples which are used by others, but the product manager still needs to create the document, customize it based on their organization, customize it based on whatever decisions they've made it till this stage. Now the next step is the execute. So we've discussed research, we've discussed requirements. After this, product manager would be execute. There are multiple things within execute itself, like they would be working with engineers and designers, they would be updating the Jira regularly, they would be testing out the product, they would be providing feedback, communicating the progress of the product to the stakeholders within the organization. And then the fun part is they could be working on building AI features into their product. So now let's see for each of these, what is it that can be done via ChatGPT and how much of it can be. So the first one being working with the designers and engineers in the team. So I would say ChatGPT at this stage could leverage be like around 10%. The reason I say is because yes, you can ask question to the AI tool saying, what are the best practices of working with the engineers and designers, maybe some little bit understanding of the technical or the design aspects of building out a product, but that's all. Like, obviously an AI tool cannot replace a product manager when it comes to communicating with the actual human beings on a day-to-day basis and getting the work done and working collaboratively and all of that. So that and all cannot still at this point cannot be done by AI tool. AI tool cannot attend meetings for you. It cannot make instant decisions when people are asking you for it, right? It cannot talk on your behalf. So those are the things which ChatGPT cannot do at this point. Now the next one within this is updating Jira regularly. So I would say maybe 20% of the work could be leveraged via ChatGPT. Like you could ask ChatGPT on how should I create user stories? How often should it be updated? Like what's the best format? What are the best practices? You could ask all these factual questions, but when it comes to actually updating the Jira, it's not like you can schedule things like this. It's not like that, because you're having a meeting, you're having a daily stand-up with the team, and then you got to update it at that time. Some stakeholder has raised something, you got to create a user story at that time. You've got to keep your backlog refined and groomed and all of that. You've got to change the statuses of it. You've got to add comments on the Jira ticket. So these are all ad hoc, like I wouldn't say ad hoc, but these are all things which are not planned. These are things which happen as and when your day passes on. So, these are the things which a product manager, being a human, definitely still has to do, something that AI tool cannot do at this point. Now, after this, the next thing that a product manager would do is testing the product and providing the feedback. So I would say we could leverage ChatGPT maybe 30% at this stage. We could ask ChatGPT for writing the test scenarios and how should I test this particular product, and it's going to give you a huge list of test scenarios. You could definitely take clues from there. But when it comes to actual testing on different environments, different types of testing, doesn't have to be like a regression test each time. Sometimes you have to do sanity testing, sometimes you just have to test one little feature, and actual testing on different environments, that is something ChatGPT at this point cannot do. Obviously, you have to log bugs based on that. You have to provide feedback. You have to have that dialogue and conversation with the engineers on what are the problems that you are facing. So those things obviously cannot at this stage be done by an AI tool. Now after this, once within the execute, once the testing is also done, the other thing that a product manager would do is communicate the progress. So I think this stage, maybe 30% of it again is something that can be leveraged from ChatGPT. Like we could ask them, I have to send an email to an executive, can you give me like a sample email? It can give you a sample email and things like that. It can give you again some information about what should I put in the email and stuff like that, but it cannot actually send it for you. The things that you need to enter in the email, it needs to be very customized based on whatever decisions you've taken. It cannot customize those. It cannot send it on the frequency that you need it to. Sometimes it doesn't have to be at a set frequency. It can be as and when the need arises. So those things obviously cannot be accomplished by ChatGPT at this point. You need an actual human being to do that. So you've got to do it yourself at this stage. Now after this, the last thing in the execute, as I said earlier, which is sort of a fun part as well, build the AI features into the product. We all know AI is the future, right? So instead of thinking of it like our enemy or something that has been made to replace us, we need to be smart and think about how can we make it our friend. It's a technology like all other technologies out there. How do we leverage the beauty of this technology into our product? So a product manager has to think about that when they are building a product, because whoever you are building out the product for in this world, like everybody now is accustomed to what AI is, at least at certain levels. Some people know a little bit about it, some people know a lot of it about it, but people still know that there is a thing called AI. It's not new, it's been here for decades. So slowly everyone is adopting that. So as a product manager, to have that edge against others, you always need to think about how can I leverage the beauty of AI into the product that I am building. So I think 100% of this could be utilized by ChatGPT. So you could actually research how this tool is built, how is it learning from input, and how is it making itself smarter, and the same concept you can implement it on your product as well. So I think this is going to be the real beauty of it. We are not at a stage wherein product managers will be replaced, because there is still a lot of places wherein a human being is need. At least at this point, we are recording this in 2023, at least today that's not the case. I cannot predict what will happen after 30-40 years, but at least today the role cannot be completely replaced. But we have to understand, at least the product managers, because when they're thinking about what features do I build next, they should definitely think about how can I make my product smarter using AI. Now after the execution is done, the product manager is going to do a couple of launch activities. When I say launch, it includes things like drafting the messages, making an announcements, doing the release notes, doing a lot of documentation. I think for all of these, a product manager can leverage ChatGPT for 90% of it. So because these are mostly like the templates and all of that, right? So it could give you a beautiful announcement format, it could give you the templates of the document and some sample documents also, right? It could give you what should a release note have. So that 10% of work of filling in the data, that is something that a product manager would obviously still have to do. But a lot of things or activities which need to happen at the launch stage can be done using an AI tool. Like it's going to give you much better templates or results than you would ideally create on your own, because it has that big database and it's learning from other people. So that's why I think we as PMs should leverage the intelligence of ChatGPT to come up with the solutions wherever we can. All right, now the last phase in the product management journey is going to be monitoring. Means now they've launched the product, now after this they're monitoring. Now inside monitoring, they would ideally do activities like talk to the customers, gather the feedback, tracking their metrics. Now in all of these, I think ChatGPT could be leveraged 30% of the time. So when I say 30%, it means that you could ask ChatGPT about what are the questions I should ask my customer, what are the the templates that I can have for storing the customer information, what is it that I actually need, what metrics should I track for my product. You could ask all those questions to the AI tool, but you still have to do the manual work of talking with customers and doing that activity, gathering the feedback, tracking the metrics. Yes, it can tell you what metrics to track, but the work of tracking and monitoring how the trends are going up and down and then respond based on that, those are the things that you will still have to do yourself. Now apart from the activities that I have mentioned, there are things like attending the meetings, building those one-on-one connections, be empathetic towards users, making decision at each and every stage, change the strategies, be agile. In short, whatever it takes to be a human, that is very much required in the product manager role as of today. Yes, we can use ChatGPT for a lot of things, but we are not at a stage wherein ChatGPT can replace a product manager. So yes, it's a good news. So I hope this has given you a really clear view of whether a product management role can be replaced by an AI tool like ChatGPT, because we've just dug into each and every activity of what a product manager does and whether those can be done by a tool or not. So I hope this has really helped you give that perspective. So as I said early on in the video as well, smarter questions you ask, smarter answers you're going to get. So I think we also need to master the art of asking smarter questions, because for us to be able to leverage the full potential of an AI tool like this, we need to understand what sort of questions do we ask so that the answers that we get are actually useful for us. And then obviously, there is that factor, do you want to trust everything that's written on there blindly? So you still need to make decisions, you need to still be empathetic and think. All those human emotions will play over here. Like, you still have to think. You are just given factual information. Now after this, for you to be able to make a decision and do something, you still got to do it on your own. You still have to do the gut check on your own to be able to proceed further with the next action. So I think the product managers really need to stay on top of this trend. So make AI your ally, and see how you could benefit from it. Not only using it to ask questions, but also thinking about how you can use artificial intelligence in the products that you are building today. So I hope this has really helped you and given you an idea on what an AI tool can or cannot do, and most importantly, what you should do to remain indispensable. So if you've liked whatever I've said so far, and if in general you can relate to whatever I say in my videos on product management, do not forget to hit like and subscribe, and feel free to comment in there on how your experience has been working on the tool, and I'll definitely try getting back. Until then, see you all next week. Bye bye.